We gotta get back downstairs and let's begin the video.
Today we're going to answer the age-old question, is bigger always better? We're going to show you the newly released iPad Air 11-inch and 13-inch and help you determine is bigger better or is smaller and more compact more productive for your daily use. We're going to cover some general use, some productivity use, media consumption, show you the overall specs of the device so you can have some first-hand knowledge on which would be best for you in your lifestyle. So stay with me. Hello, if you're new here, I'm Branden Bodendorfer, creator and founder of the Key2Success Planning System, a system designed to help you, no matter if you're looking for personal or professional productivity, for you to get the most out of your life. And throughout all these videos, my goal is to help bring you not only the tech specs that you might be looking for as your quest to determine which product is best, but also give you real life use cases so you can really make the most out of these devices. And one question that everybody always asks me is, Branden, should I get the 13-inch or should I go with the 11-inch? And unfortunately, I always have to turn around and ask a handful of questions to them. Is like, what does your daily use look like? Is this something you travel with? Is this something to be stationed at your desk? How is your eye strain? Are you looking at multitasking? Are you using single apps? Do you want to be able to have more canvas for a space, or do you want to have a smaller handprint so that you're able to hold it more freely? And those questions I hope to answer for you today. You can see that the 11-inch is considerably smaller. And if I compare it to the iPhone 17 Max, you can see that the width is about relative to the height of the iPhone, and we have about an extra inch or two here. Now, overall thicknesses, if I bring these two devices together, they're almost identical in thickness. So you're not going to see much of a difference there. And what does the devices have to offer? They both have that magnetic charging port for the Apple Pencil Pro, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. I'm also going to showcase a couple other Apple Pencil knockoffs that we'll be able to use and save you some money. It has our volume button. It has our fingerprint reader. Now this is really cool because in some devices you've had, like the Pro, you can do the face recognition, and here you have a fingerprint reader, and then we have our speakers, top and bottom, and USB-C charging. One different with the Air versus the Pro is noticeably the camera. Now, I can be honest with you, I have the Pro models myself. I rarely ever use the camera. Matter of fact, that bump out for those Pros makes it a little more challenging for me to go ahead and be able to write with it. These here you can see are a lot easier to be able to push down on the desk. They're not moving. In addition, when you look at the screen, one thing you're notice about the Air versus like the Pro models is the bezel is a little bigger. For some of you, that might be great, especially if you're going to be doing that one-handed hold. Having that little bit bigger bezel makes it easier to hold in your hand. We see that with a lot of e-ink devices where you're able to go ahead, you're able to hold it, you're able to grab a pen or a pencil and write with it, and you can do that pretty easy. We also have a new location for that camera on top. So if you're doing any FaceTime, any Zoom calls, which I will cover in another video, some of the different productivity apps that I use, but I find that to be one that I absolutely love, is being able to be on FaceTime and browse over meeting notes simultaneously. But we're going to get into multitasking here in a minute. But form factor overall, really, it comes down to, in my mind, is the bigger screen worth it? Do you need this space? And the question that I have to ask is, what are you doing with the device? So let's talk about some of the different things you can do with the device so you can determine which one is best for you if overall size doesn't really matter too much. As we dig into both of these devices and really look at the size comparison of the screen, one of the things that you're going to notice a difference on is multitasking. Now you can go ahead and you can turn on Stage Manager, and this is going to allow you to kind of have a full multitask windowing feature where you can actually go ahead and you can resize apps, you can move them and place them and make like tiles just like you would on a computer, as well as many other different tablets out there. One thing I like to do is I like to open up my note-taking app, and then I like to bring front and center my email. And I'll pull both of these items in here, and then I'm going to go ahead and resize my email to be next to my note-taking app. And the reason I do that, and this is a little productivity hack that I have for many of you, as you guys are using these devices for like productivity, one thing I really encourage you to do is look at using some type of planning system. With the Key2Success Planner, I'm able to go ahead and write out all my to-dos for the day. And if you are one of those individuals that's treating your email as a task list, I encourage you First thing I would do to help your productivity is go through that email, and you can do that by having a side-by-side notation here. Look at all the different emails and work through those emails and determine what tasks you need to work on. And you start to go ahead and you write in the task in your planner. Then what you do is once you have all the tasks out in front of you, you start to ask yourself, what here is highest priority? And I put in my key 3 as well as any additional tasks under to-dos. And this way I can see, like, this is my task for the day, this is my schedule for today, and I can start to prioritize what I take ownership of. This is a much better way of keeping yourself focused and building yourself a productivity routine that's going to work. If you simply go through your emails and treat them as a task, you never have a holistic look at everything you have to do. And as new emails come in, the priority always seems to be what's on top, and you never really get to the thick of things that are below. So the 13-inch is absolutely great for this. It gives you plenty of real estate to do so. And you could even pop in a third app. Maybe you need to pull in a text message app or something like that. You could easily do that and still have the space that you can work with this device. When it comes to the 11-inch, you still have the ability to do that multitasking feature, but I find a lot of people benefit from kind of doing what I would call a 2/3, 1/3 split, where again, you have your calendar on the side and you have your note-taking app on the right, as well as any other device. Now, this here, still same productivity features, you're just losing a little bit of that screen. But if you're somebody that's on the go and you're having to handhold this device, this one here is a lot easier to do. If I have to handhold the 13-inch, not only is it heavier, but I often find that sometimes I have to use my other palm and apply pressure as I'm writing just so that I have a good writing technique. So if you're going to be portable, the 11-inch might be best for you. If you're going to be stationary at a desk and you want the added real estate of the screen, the 13 would be the one I would consider. As you start to work through determining if the 11-inch or the 13-inch iPad Air is best for you, you probably are starting to think about accessories. What accessories are going to matter most to you? And I'm going to do a deep video on this that you can find in the description that covers some of my favorite accessories. But one I want to show you right now that I really think boasts the productivity of these devices is an actual stylus or pencil. With the Apple Pencil Pro, it pairs with this device. It goes ahead and it clicks on the top of the device, and you can use that to charge, and you can use it to write with your device. Now, you can also look at products like by ESR, which I have a comment and link in the description, where you have a little bit cheaper price entry and a lot of the same features in writing styles. So if I'm in GoodNotes, is a very popular app. Another popular app is OneNote. You can go ahead and you can write notes. So I can go ahead and tap my writing tool. I can select the different type of writing that I want: fountain, ballpoint, brush. I'm going to choose to have a little bit thicker line, which I can do that by clicking here. Now I'll go a little bit bigger, and then I can zoom in if I want to, and I can say, take notes. And now with this particular app, I could even go ahead and select that handwritten note, and I can go ahead and say, convert to text. And it says take notes, it converts, and now it went ahead and put that handwritten note right in the text for me. And I can even from there make the size a little bigger by selecting it and choosing a different style. I often find that handwriting on an iPad is one of the best things I can do, because a lot of times if you're using a keyboard or you're taking notes that way, you are kind of at a race with the clock and you're trying to get your brain and your keystrokes to align. And a lot of times the thought and the focus is kind of lost in transition between the two. When I'm handwriting notes, it might feel like a slower process, but for me, it's a richer experience. I get to think and focus on what I'm working to do. I can go ahead and draw diagrams. I can put wire charts out there. I can ask myself questions. I can draw text boxes of things I want to do. And those illustrations to me always seem to be more of a focus opportunity than just simply keystroking the things that are on my mind. And you can still type in this system as well with this device, but it is also one more accessory that you have to bring with you unless you choose to go ahead and type on the screen itself. And if I go ahead and type on the screen itself, I'm just going to go to a new page here so you can see that. To do that and to do it well, So the first thing you notice is I go ahead and use the keyboard that's on screen, I'm already paralyzing some of my space. Now, I do have the ability, I could go ahead and rotate and have a slightly smaller keyboard with then more space to work with. But if I want to take full advantage of the actual device itself, I got to pull out some type of portable keyboard, like an Apple keyboard, and go ahead and mount that. And now I can go ahead and type in that device and have the full screen. But now that Air-like experience is now nearly twice as thick as well as it is heavy. And now we kind of created a laptop-like situation for ourselves when we're really looking for a tablet experience. Jumping over to the 11-inch, you can see that we still have that same framework of handwritten notes and writing, still being able to type, just the screen is a little smaller. And again, the pinch to zoom really kind of helps you overcome that. Just if you want to see larger text in a larger display, this is one downfall of the 11-inch. But again, still able to have a full page experience with the 11-inch. And if you're looking for something to sit at your desk, especially if you're going to be going to a coffee shop or a meeting, this does seem to pair nice. When I look at the 11-inch versus the 13-inch, I really think of it as a sheet of paper and how much space do I need to write? Do I need a smaller sheet or a larger sheet for my writing and note-taking experience? Now, what would it be if we did not look at this iPad as some type of media consumption? I imagine no matter how productive you are definitely going to have a space of time that you want to just be able to unwind and chill, check out your favorite YouTuber. Maybe it's me, but probably not. For me, it's probably Peter McKinnon. And I love the fact that especially when I'm traveling or I'm at the end of the day and I just want to check in to see what's taking place out there and either watch a basketball game, see some football, I want to be able to consume media. Now, the question is, where am I doing that? I think the 11-inch is great for doing that if it's on a solo consumption basis. If you're on an airplane, if you're in a bus, if you're sitting on your couch and you're just kind of taking in all yourself, the 11-inch is absolutely great for that. But when I think about the 13-inch often comes into something that I'm able to share that experience with somebody else. That larger display allows me to go ahead and see it at a greater distance, maybe share it between myself and my spouse. We watch a lot of movies from time to time. We don't have a TV in our bedroom, but if there's a case where we want to see a show before we call it a night, the 13-inch is always the one I gravitate towards because it has that bigger screen, that larger consumption. And you can see that, case in point. By the way, Peter, if you ever happen to watch any of my videos, you have been an inspiration to me since day one. Love to see that you're back on the tube again and coming back from your break. We all need a little point of rest every now and then, and I absolutely understand that. So as you compare these two different devices and you look at the 11 inches, 13-inch, there's so many different things that you need to consider. What am I doing with it? Where am I taking it? What do I want to achieve with it? So final verdict, 11-inch or 13-inch, which is the best device for you? Well, there's a number of things that we kind of covered in this video, and I want to round them out just so you can ask yourself some questions. How portable are you looking for this device to be? Is it at your desk or is it on the go? Is there going to be immediate consumption? And if so, is it a solo experience or may you have a companion with you at times? Are you going to be multitasking? And if you are multitasking, is it important to have a side-by app experience and do you need that bigger display? Really, when I look at these two devices, to me, it's really about kind of more of a portable tablet versus a workstation tablet. Because with Apple, if you are doing any type of note-taking or productivity, this is probably the most sought after device. Now, when I look at the hardware and specs of these two, really, there's a lot to be considered, like how much data you might need for your photo library, how much memory you're going to need for the different apps that you might have on a device. And I think you just take that into consideration. Maybe look at your phone and what you're doing and consuming there, because a lot of times the information is pairing from one device to another. Having an equal and complementary storage capacity on both devices is probably highly encouraged. So I hope this video showcased you a couple things to improve your productivity, help you gain some clarity on which device size is best for you. And if you have any questions, please hit the comments up. I'd be happy to help. I'm Branden Bodendorfer, and Lord willing, we'll see you in the next video.